No one wants to work in the boiler rooms. No one wants to work with the tools. Nation's youth are taking the easy way out. There's no one left to fix our schools. Maintenance technicians about to retire. Company executives got no one.
We're here now, Comfortably Uncomfortable with Joe Pope, where basketball is a lifestyle. I have a couple of special guests here today. I'd like them to introduce themselves. To my left is my friend.
I'm Joel Leonard. I serve as the chairman of the National Defense Industrial Association's manufacturing workforce. It's been my life's mission for the last 15 years is to fill in the gaps and trying to backfill the boomer generation and build the next generation of skilled technicians. And I'm delighted that Joe, who's taking his experience in supporting traditional sports and helping us showcase some of the challenges and issues that we need to do to create new innovations that perpetuate and develop the talent pools that we need to make our country more sustainable and prosperous as we move forward. As again, the vast majority of skilled technicians that we have in our current generation are leaving us, and the technology now is getting so advanced that it even oversees what the current people can do. So who's going to be prepared and qualified to be able to take on that on? So those are some of the challenges, and I'm delighted that some of my friends and resources here have joined us today for this first, what I hope to be lots more content on these and subject on this, because we've got to build the next generation of skilled technicians, because one of two things are going to happen. We're either going to pass on the baton or drop it on them.
Right.
And right now we're dropping it on. We don't have the pipeline that we need.
Yes, we're trying to pick the baton back up.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. To my right, young lady, introduce your name.
My name is Joanna Ziegler. I'm a senior at Dudley High School. I participate in the Shelley Go Marathon,
Wow.
which is a competition for high schools, colleges, and universities to build their own cars and race for fuel efficiency.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And tell them what happened last year.
Our first car that ran on 100% ethanol got first place with 108 miles per gallon, and our other car got third place with 78 miles per gallon.
You make it convertible?
We can one day.
Okay, we'll move on. Thank you.
My name's Heather Pendrak. I'm currently a teacher at Ragsdale High School.
Wow.
We teach animation and modeling,
Wow.
scientific visualization, and game art and design. And as part of my program, I actually have started a business where those skills that I teach in the classroom are part of my business, so the students can see that what they're learning has value in the market. So I have created Pendragon 3D Arts, where we do 3D modeling, 3D
Amazing.
scanning, laser engraving, and rapid prototyping.
Wow, we need more teachers like you, Heather. I must say that. That's so honest.
She scanned in my head and turned it into a salt shaker.
I like this show. All right, we'll move on. My next guest.
My name is Kirk Sparks. I'm the president of Bright Plastics here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we're part of the GAP apprenticeship program. We developed a program with other companies in Guilford County where we go out and recruit high school kids, their senior year in high school. We hire them, we pay for their community college, we pick up all tuition, all expenses, everything like that, and then they're guaranteed a job when they get out at one of the companies. And so there's a big void in the marketplace of what we'll call vocational skilled tradesmen, electricians, automation specialists, people like that. We just don't have those jobs anymore. And so people talk about bringing jobs back from China, and we're seeing some of that, and that's good. The problem is we don't have enough of the skilled tradesmen to run the manufacturing side.
Right. So that's where you come in to build that program that you're talking about at the moment.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That's what we need more of, people to reach out to the youth and make sure they have a platform to stand on when school's done, when college done, and live a good life. You know what I mean? That is amazing. And I have another guest. Okay?
Last but not least,
That's right.
I'm Gene Holder. I'm the Metals Tech instructor for Weaver Academy here in Greensboro. Also, I'm a journeyman toolmaker, and I served apprenticeship myself in industry. Been teaching for 19 years, so I've been a big supporter of trying to get these apprenticeships up and going. I know what they're worth. They're able to go through this 4-year apprenticeship, get a journeyman's certificate, and have all their education paid for plus a paycheck. Parents, see if you find a program any better than that.
I gotta love this panel because, you know, that's what it's really based on, like being able to give back, you know, and get these kids in college, because, you know, right now a lot of kids are not graduating on time.
No.
And that's a setback because most of them have the knowledge to move on, to make something of themselves and help the situation that we're going through now, what Joe was talking about. So that's amazing. I really appreciate that, and wholeheartedly. And Joe, tell the world what what you're after, what you're looking for, and what you need.
Well, I would like to know from the world, what do we need to get kids more excited about making a living for themselves, about changing our society's perspectives. I mean, what we glorify is what we get, and if we are going to perpetuate singing and dancing, which is nice, but we don't have jobs for them.
Right.
I mean, how are people going to feed themselves? It's 0.02% of all college or high school football players actually get a job. and then we have all these new programs and the STEM sports things that are coming up, and we got Joanna, who has to have $20,000 because of the insurance, the food, all the things that are involved. They aren't getting the funding, but the football team that wins a national opportunity to go compete, the community would reach out and they would be there, and there would be over 100 kids there, and they would have all their things, and they would have all that support. And all these kids are coming out doing all this great stuff, but they bang up their bodies and they don't really have any career options.
That's right. Yeah.
And what she's doing at Dudley High School and what the Weaver Academy is doing, I mean, they are doing things that prepare and develop. And again, what Bright Plastics is doing is actually producing products that we use, that we depend on.
Right.
And they don't have a viable workforce.
Right.
And I love the movie that came out recently, and we need to make that because we need everybody watching this movie, Hidden Figures, where they were talking about how people that the normal perception of people, you had to be white and you had to work at NASA, and they had these black women, and it's tough enough for women to get much less black women, and they actually, this lady that designed the mathematical formula to get John Glenn back into space when he orbited the moon. I mean, orbited the Earth back in the 60s. The gal that did that was black. Just happened to be black. Doesn't matter. All the surface stuff doesn't matter. What matters what we do as far as how we got to quit siloing. We got to quit segmenting that, and we got to look in a broader scale, because again, we've got to really focus that. And again, we're no longer in a space race.
Right.
But we're in a tech race.
You're right about that, and that's called thinking outside the box. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And something people got to understand about manufacturing, your 1,000,000-part runs, it's going to be hard to bring those back.
Right.
But the ones and the twos and the high tech and anything to do with military, that's going to be here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That means it takes a more technical, trained person to do this. And you're going to see more and more of that coming back here.
That's right, and that's the amazing thing. And you guys are like starting to be at the forefront of bringing that back here, and that's where it starts at. And Joanne, like, what made you become so creative with what you're doing right now?
Well, ever since I was little, I always played with like the little Hot Wheel cars.
Okay.
I have like a collection of 300, and when I heard about this team at Dudley and talking about engineers coming to help, I just fell in love with it, and I stayed after that same day. And just the fact that I can get this experience to work with colleges and universities, and for them to be giving me advice and for them to influence me, as well as our sponsors, it's an amazing opportunity, and it's changed my life so much.
That's right, and you are considered the future. You are considered our future right now. You know, as we are up in age, I'm not going to tell mine, but, this is our future.
29.
Yeah, I'm 22. And you know what I mean? And Heather, I would like some input on that from you.
Mm-hmm. Well, coming from the education side of it and seeing the kids, we teach career and technical education. So it's geared towards the career and technical ed.
Yes.
But bringing somebody in, it's like, oh yeah, she's your teacher, whatever. She's just telling the same thing that everybody else is telling us. You bring in somebody, though, from industry or from a different area. They come in, they tell the kids the exact same thing you're telling them.
Right.
Hey, it now makes sense because we see somebody out there who's doing it.
Right.
So they have that tangible connection. So making those connections between the businesses and having businesses come in and mentor and bringing in their skills or their knowledge and just telling them a story about, oh yeah, when I worked on this or I did this.
Right.
They're like, hey, well, somebody's doing that now. So what I'm learning in here has value outside
Right.
of the classroom. And what I teach gives them lots of avenues because it's animation and modeling. So I can learn how to model something 3D, but that model can be additive manufacturing in a business or industry. That could be medical 3D printing now.
Right.
So that goes into the medical illustration field. I want to see how different chemical compounds react in the body. Well, now I have a job with a medical company because I can
right.
illustrate those things that people don't understand or can't see. So all of those skills now that they're learning, they could go into game industry, movie industry, but finding out, oh, I'm learning this, I can only do this, to I'm learning this, but I can do this, and this.
That's right. You have many options.
You have options.
That's
So
what
it's
it's
not
about.
just that one skill. And we've compartmentalized everything.
Yeah.
So you go here, you learn English. You go here, you learn math. You go here, you learn social studies. But all of those things, and that's one thing that career and technical education does, is you're not learning one thing. We learn game design. You have to write instructions.
That's right.
And tell somebody how to play your game. So now you have English. You want to make a game. Well, let's bring in history.
Right.
How many games out there, I want to be the next, GT5 game. No, because you have games that teach people stuff. And those are more viable in so many ways than just the big game companies.
Exactly.
I can make the visualizations for the news. I can show the weather. I can graphics on a web page now because I learned those basic skills.
That's right.
But now let's show them
And
where those connections
put all
are.
those skills
it's,
together.
Yes, and it's not just English now. It's not just history or math. It's all a connected system of teaching. And that's one of the reasons why I created my business.
Wow, Heather, that's amazing. See, you're giving insight to these kids that don't have it. And that's what we need to do because we have to share knowledge because we all, the age that we are now, we all learn something new every day. You know what I mean? I didn't know what you did. I learned something new today.
Yeah, just
I didn't know you built cars. I learned something new today. I didn't know Kirk was into plastic. I learned something new today. And my man from the Weaver High, man, let me tell you something, man. What you're saying and what you're doing is really good. You know what I mean? For the kids. You know what I mean? So I'd like you to collaborate on what Heather just said. What's your outlook? What do you think they need?
Well, the biggest void is the vocational skilled tradesmen, like I was talking about. And I disagree slightly with what Gene said about mass production. And we make millions and millions of medical parts every day.
Wow.
Okay, we can compete with China, Taiwan, any other third world country. We can compete all day. They only have two advantages on us: low cost labor and no government regulation.
Okay.
And so what it becomes for us to be able to compete is we have to compete with automation and technology.
Right.
Okay. I need people that can program robots. I need programs that can program instrumentation. Okay. And like right now, a job that pays $20 to $26 an hour,
Right.
I'm having to recruit all across the country.
Wow.
There's nobody around here. So I mean, if I'm looking for a PLC maintenance person to program PLCs, program controllers and stuff, I may bring in somebody from Texas or Illinois or Nevada
Right.
for those type jobs. So it's no longer you're just recruiting that male or female with a mechanical engineering degree. I mean, you're recruiting vocational skilled people because we just don't have them. We flat don't have them.
Okay.
And employment rate right now is tight. That's a good thing. More people are working. But when we shipped a lot of our jobs and our production offshore, what went with that was a lot of the jobs. There was a big brain drain
Right.
of vocational jobs. Well, now we're seeing that, hey, you can compete in this country again, but to do that, we need more skilled people. And that's why I get excited about kids like Joanna and everything. Joanna Ziegler here.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat what she's doing. You want to see people like that develop and pursue their passions. And
There's
it's
probably
a big-
another million Joannes out there, and you guys are going to create a platform to reach out to them. We only have a few minutes left, but I want to get a few words from you. I want you to collaborate shortly on that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, what you were saying, there are a lot of students out there, but it's hard to connect them with what we're trying to do. It's piggyback on what was said a while ago about sports and other things. It's always publicized. You see it all over the news.
Right.
But stuff like this is hard to find unless you're on cable TV and get some of the DIY shows, stuff
You
like
got
that.
my show, and it's a good platform. You got my show.
And you know, I'll do a poll of my students and ask them just how many of you have internet or how many of you have cable TV. You would be surprised how many of you don't have access.
That's right.
You would think this day and age they would, but there are certain parts of the country that don't. So when I tell them, have you looked at this show or have you looked at this on the internet? No. And I introduce them to that, and once it does, it kind of goes from there.
Right.
Another program we're working with, I'm with the Society of Manufacturing Engineers. And we're coming out with a new youth program for high school students down to age 13.
Right.
And we're actually going to be getting industry professionals to become members and be vetted by the FBI to become mentors for these students. So now we're going to be going out to the companies and start getting this up and going. And then within the high schools, I'm already working with some of the board members here trying to get this into gear and get their blessing to start introducing these kids to it. But then they'll start building a portfolio from age 13 up of skill sets they're learning and classes they've taken, and then they can actually share that with different industry people like Mr. Kirk here that's in the GAP program. And there's 11 companies in that this year?
12 now.
12 companies. Now these students are going to really have a good opportunity here to be able to go while they're in high school. They can start the end of their junior year in high school, work that summer. I've got one student right now who made it through the program last summer. He's working at MSI as an apprentice. His senior year in high school, he comes to me in the morning for class, leaves at lunch, goes to work.
It's amazing.
He gets a paycheck, he gets graduation credits.
They get paid while they go in school.
Yes.
I mean, when they're sitting in class, they're paid an hourly wage.
Wow, that's an incentive, you know.
Plus, all their education's paid for.
That's a great incentive.
$0. It's a job with it's education with a paycheck, I believe is their slogan.
Wow.
So they're going to go through 8,000 hours. But
Say that again. Say that again. What is it called?
Education with a paycheck.
Wow, man, you need to brand that. You really need
Maybe
to.
the state of North Carolina doing that with their apprentices.
I branded myself. It took me 16 years. You might take it over the top in 2 days, because that's amazing. Because a lot of kids don't go to school because some of them have to stay back and help mom with the kids. You know, life's based on a lot of broken homes. And I'm from the inner city, and I'm an example, and I can explain that to you. You know what I mean? But we're going to wrap this up. This is called a hope panel. This was real today, and I had a great time.
Well, I want to showcase to our viewers, this is a positive example. This happened, I couldn't get her to come today, but a 10-year-old girl and her dad made this as a response to her desire to get a 1955 car. Well, she didn't think she'd be able to do it for a number of years. Her dad taught her how to do this. They were able to learn. He taught her how to weld. They taught her how to fuse all this, take discarded items of nails, a horseshoe, and put it together. And they were able to sell enough in 1 year's time that she was able to buy her own, at 10 years old, her own car. It's a 1955 Chevy Bel Air that she's got 6 years to get it fixed up before she can drive.
I want you to say her name. I want the whole world to know her name.
You can Google Ashlyn Albright. Good Morning America just did a feature on her.
Wow, it's amazing.
Can I add one other thing?
Yes.
High school students that are interested in engineering, doing stuff with their hands, go to sme.org and Google or search for the high school program. It's a brand new program we're just coming out with. Go on the website, look at it. You have to download the form. You can fill it out. You and your parent have to sign it, send it in to SME and be approved. And they'll get membership for free and start receiving the Manufacturing Engineering magazine from SME, as well as a lot of other good stuff. They're hooked into about $20 billion in scholarships, of which they're going to put in front of these students. So
that's amazing.
Never let money be the reason you don't go to school. There's plenty out there. You just need to know where to work.
Right.
Where to look for.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. You're now here with Comfortably Uncomfortable with Joe Pope, where basketball's a lifestyle, with the Hope Panel. All right? See you next time.
Computers and sophisticated tools, but there's nobody entering our technical schools. I say, does it make you feel? I say, does it make you feel? Supply fans and cooling towers are breaking down all over the place. High pressure, low pressure, spring and a leak. Well, I can tell you it's a big disgrace. Industry knows what we've got to do. Find and train a workforce who will fix it for you. How safe does it make you feel? How safe does it make you feel? How safe does it make you feel?